Hi everyone, Andrew here for ABELI Reviews, and today we are going over ship builds, specifically my ship builds. So what you see here is an Anaconda. I named my Anaconda Castle, kind of for a very big reason. It has lots of turrets. And we'll kind of go through all the pieces of this ship, but overall, my goal for Castle was to make a ship that I could have multi-crew sessions with. So Castle is fitted with basically all the turrets you could imagine. It also has a fighter hangar, and really just everything is kind of built for combat, and specifically combat with other players in the ship. There are many things you can do with an Anaconda. It has so many hard points, so many spaces. Like you can mine in this thing, you can fight in this thing, you can explore in it. But for me, I really wanted to make kind of like a fun combat Anaconda. But one sort of thing that I will call out, nothing here is engineered. All of this is fresh from the various sales markets in Elite Dangerous. I'll do a separate video kind of going over Guardian and engineered type equipment on a ship. But for my ships, everything's going to be stock. So let's go ahead and take a peek at everything Castle sort of has going on. First things first is sort of just the modules that are here. My thrusters are 7A, so that's kind of a key part, right? That is the highest you can get without getting into engineering. Same thing for my shield generator. I did decide to go with a standard shield generator instead of like a bi-weave shield generator or even a prismatic shield generator. Then you get into your beam lasers, all those fun things. You know what? Actually, before I kind of go through here, I think we'll come back to this space. What I want to do is I'm going to give you kind of like a top-down view. I think that'll be more helpful and more impactful. Let's go to outfitting. Perfect. So now we can kind of see everything in action and kind of understand my placements. So like I said, we'll go through sort of the hard points first. And my very first hard point, which is the largest hard point here, that is falls in the H category. It is a class 4A beam laser. So this is the highest beam laser you can have on this ship, and it sits right under the belly of the ship, which is really cool. This is the only sort of turret on the ship that is not multi-crew enabled, and that's just because they don't make them that way. But what is nice is this is just a really great straight shot of energy that I can use when I'm kind of controlling the ship. Moving sort of on the other side, you get to the beam laser, which is a 3D beam laser, and then another 3D beam laser, another 3D beam laser, and then we get into sort of class 2 multi-cannon, a class 2F multi-cannon, and then a class 1G multi-cannon and a 1G multi-cannon. So all these are kind of the biggest version of their turret itself for the class that can be fit here. So these two spots right here are allowing a class 1 type turret. So I went with the best multi-cannon turret I could. I really do like multi-cannons. You can see here all 4 of these are. I just think they're fun. Who doesn't want a chain gun on their ship? Not everything has to be the best version. It just has to be really cool. The rule of cool, if you will. From there, I really like beam lasers over like pulse lasers or something else. So everything here is a beam laser. I just think it seems really cool to look out and see those lasers shooting out. So all of these are sort of set up as their highest spec. When we get to our utility mounts, I sort of indexed into 2 things: shield boosters and point defense turrets. And the placement of these things is really important. Specifically when it comes to point defense turrets. Shield boosters, not so much. They are literally just battery boosters for your ship. It doesn't matter where they are, at least to my knowledge. But again, sort of top tier, OA, they only really make one size, so no real big deal there. But I have the shield boosters kind of in the corners on the bottom half of the ship. All of my point defense turrets. So a point defense turret essentially tries to shoot at missiles that get shot at you. So it'll try to like take care of them. I have those all on the top of the ship. So you can see one here, one here. So they're basically 2 in the front and then kind of 2 in the back at the top of the ship. And then on the front underbelly and back underbelly are the shield boosters. And these just give my shields a little bit more of a hardy boost. And they do 20% per booster. So that's really great. It allows the shield to last just a little bit longer. Again, these are not engineered things. So my shield can use all the help it can get. From there, we get into my core internals. I really like the reactive surface composite armor. This is a 1A version, so that's kind of all they do for this, but you know, fun sort of call out. You can see here the hull boost is 250%, kinetic resistance is 25%. Thermal is where it really doesn't shine, but it shines on everything else, and that's why I over-index on the shields. So because my thermal resistance is a -40. From there, we then get into our power plant. This is the best power plant that you can get for this ship, again, without engineering. Really, you have a lot of shield boosters on this thing, so it requires a massive amount of energy to kind of maintain it. Same thing for the thrusters. The Anaconda is not a small ship, so I really do recommend getting the best thrusters you can. These are 7A, so highest tier that I could get in. Then we get into the frame shift drive, and same deal. I want to be able to jump as far as I can, so that's where the 6A version comes out. Then we get into life support. I personally have not had to experience a ton of options where I had to sort of spec out the best version of life support. But there has been 1 or 2 times, not in this ship, but in a different ship, where I was racing to get back to the station. So I think it's kind of important to make sure your life support gives you as much time as you can. And that's really what the different life supports offer you. They essentially, if your hull and your shield and all of your glass breaks out and you're living on life support because the overhead display is cracked, you're going to want as much time as you can to get home before you pass out and die. So that's why you see the 25-minute option for this one. Power distribution, super important. Again, top tier version. That's an 8A for this one as well. Then we get into our sensors. Same deal. I just want to be able to, scan and see as much as I can. So the angle is better, all those fun things. So that's an 8A. And then finally, the default fuel tank. Every ship kind of comes with its capped out version for the core internals. This one is a 32. Optional internals. This is where you can just have so much customization that you can kind of get lost in it. But again, for me, my ship is very focused on multi-crew. I have some friends I play with where essentially one person is flying in a extra ship, another person is running the turrets, I am flying, and then we also have an NPC contracted to help us fly one of the other ships as well. So I'll kind of show you what I mean when we get to that. But you can see here, shield generator, we went with the 7A, best that you can get without engineering again. That asterisk is going to be there. I'm sure there's going to be someone in the comments that references it, so I want to get ahead of that. Shield cell bank. I think this is super important, at least for what I do, which is pretty much just little bits of combat with my friends. The shield cell bank basically lets you recharge your shields very quickly. It does take up a spot, and I did want to use one of the better versions. So you see that here, and it's great because then it allows the team to run that thing. So as I'm piloting, I can say, oh, our shields are getting low. Can you turn on the shield cell bank? And we quickly basically recharge our shields as fast as we can. Now, this doesn't work if your shields get to 0, so you always want to make sure to use those before. Then fighter hangar. So this is a big one for us, and for me specifically, I do like to have an extra person flying with me. I love having it when my friends can fly ships. So we did prioritize a fighter hangar really high up in a class 6, which is awesome because the fighter hangar essentially at the class 6 level, 6D as well, it has 2 vehicle slots, and each slot can hold 8 fighters. So I have 16 ships inside my ship, ready to rock when we're out there. So that gives everybody plenty of time to have fun, and they don't have to really worry about like if something blows up. We've got plenty. I still haven't made it through all of them yet. Next up, because this is a big ship and sometimes you have to go far away, we did prioritize the 64 cap fuel tank, and that is in the 6C class 6 level C tank. That gets us another 64 tons of fuel capacity, which I highly recommend. A ship this big is going to eat up a lot because you're going to want to go places. As we get further down, I really went towards hull reinforcement packages. I wanted the hull to have some substantial hits, especially given the thermal resistance is so low on my the initial sort of hull itself, right? Because we went with the reactive surface composite. And then another 5 class hull reinforcement package. And then modules. So 2 more. So we get 2 more of these 5s. And that's where I throw in 2 module reinforcements. Because we do have fighter bays, we have turrets, we have guns, we have all these things. Last thing I want them to do is to get nicked out quickly. So we try to give them some damage protection. Then we get into our class 4. Again, the hull reinforcement package, module reinforcement package. So really just kind of hitting on, that's what I focused on. This ship is not here to do other things. It is literally just some fun combat with some friends. Or NPCs if I'm taking it out. Then, of course, I think it's vital to always have a fuel scoop on your ship. Even if you're not going terribly far, there are some exceptions, and I have a few of them. But I think a fuel scoop's really important. It's basically like wearing a seatbelt. It is the helmet. It is the life preserver on the boat. If something were to go awry and you're running out of fuel, you should have some sort of fuel scoop so you can deal with that. We then get into the advanced docking computer. I don't leave home without the advanced docking computer and the super cruise assist. I find being able to just let the ship take me down those straight paths, park this big boat of a spaceship, is so much easier. It takes the stress out of it for me. So that's why you see the advanced docking computer and the super cruise assist. I would much rather work about other things and then deal with other options, and then let the computer take care of those parts. Especially, this game's in the future, right? Telling me we don't have docking computers and Super Cruise Assist. We have that today. We have cars that can park themselves. We have cars that can go into autopilot. So to me, this feels like the right play, at least for my particular style. And then finally, the advanced planetary approach suite. That is just common if you have the Elite Dangerous packages. So this comes in all the ships, so you can ignore that one because it would be there either way. The final piece is the vehicle bays. Like I said, we have the fighter hangar. I personally really like the gimbaled beam laser option with the heatsink on the, I think it's Galid G, and I have 2 of those. These are identical ships. My reasoning for these is it's essentially a very fast glass cannon. They take very little damage before they blow up, but the amount of damage their lasers can do is really important. I really find the gimbaled lasers that are more beneficial to the friends that I fly with, because not everyone likes that sort of straight-on kind of firing. The gimbaled offers a little bit more forgivability, and everyone's just had more fun with it. So that's essentially all of the pieces of this ship. Now, the other thing that I started to talk about and then kind of ditched out on is modules. So let's bring this panel up and I'll kind of talk through it. Obviously, there's a lot here, and I can't run all of it at once. You can even see here our output is at 100%, and then our usage is at 104. So we are maxed, right? But I did think I got pretty close with my choices. Sometimes you'll have builds that go way over the usage if everybody is out and about. So that's why we set up priorities. And I set up priority based on what I'm doing at that time. So thrusters, top priority, gotta have them. Shield generator, I want that thing always working. So that's a 1. These are both 1s. A lot of my objects of war, right? Those are gonna be in a 3 category. I don't think those are necessarily important if I have to run away or if we have to do something else. So that's where you get the beam lasers at 3. Shield cell bank, that's a vital one. We gotta keep the shields up. I put that as the 1. Sensors, I want to be able to see where I'm going. That's a 1. Now we get back to beam laser, thing of war. So that's a 3, 3, and then 3 again for this beam laser. The shield booster, those are just the extra guys that sort of sit on. I do put those in a 2. This is super important, but we could still escape and make the ship work as we would like. Same thing, shield booster at a 2, shield booster at a 2, shield booster at a 2. Power distributor, you have to have that at a 1. Life support, that's vital at 1. So this is where we get kind of funny. So I have the frame shift drive at 3, same as my weapons. Really, I could have put that to a 4 and been totally fine, because you're never going to use your frame shift drive the same time that you have your weapons out. So from my end, it really didn't matter where I put that. I wasn't going over the cap. If I was going over a lot, I might consider popping the frame shift drive to like 4, or even put it in a 1, doesn't matter. Cargo hatch. This is not a hauler, so this one, cargo hatch goes all the way to 5, and that really pretty much knocks me almost to that 100%. Fuel scoop, same thing. I don't have all the things on when the fuel scoop is out, so it's not a big deal. Multi-cannon, weapon of war, 3. Multi-cannon, 3. Advanced docking computer, you're not pulling your weapons out, so that's a 5. Fighter hangar, that is a weapon of war. I want all those on the same tier. And then super cruise assist, same thing with the fuel scoop. Let's keep it as a 5. And then finally, multi-cannon 3, multi-cannon 3. Then we get into our point defense turrets. They're important, but if something were to go hairy, I'm not as concerned. So I put those in the 4 categories. And then finally, everything else at the cockpit canopy. Don't worry about that. We don't get to put those things in options, but you can see everything's listed here. I do hope this information is helpful. I'd actually be really curious to learn about some of your builds for the Anaconda. From my perspective, I do a lot of little combat zones, a little bit of bounty hunting, but I don't really spend too much time with that stuff. I like the sort of high intensity locations or middle intensity locations, just kind of hunting for anybody that's sort of wanted, and I go after them. But overall, that's my setup for my Anaconda. I did sort of really embrace the name castle. It is a castle, it has turrets, and I think that's super fun. But I look forward to hearing what you would put in your Anaconda or what you're running today in the comments below. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.